Executive order targets state artificial intelligence laws. This is not an argument about technology. It's an argument about who gets to control the rule book. An executive order signed at the White House aims to limit state laws regulating artificial intelligence, arguing that a 50-state patchwork creates confusion and slows growth. According to the New York Times, the order gives the Attorney General broad authority to challenge state laws and pressure states by tying compliance to certain federal funding. So if you want to perhaps put an age gate on Facebook to people under the age of 16, if you're, let's say, New York, then the Attorney General could say, oh, we're going to take away all your federal funds for highways or for Medicare. That's a pretty big stick. Supporters say one national framework is logical and necessary, especially if the United States wants to stay ahead of China in artificial intelligence development. Critics say the problem is timing. States passed many of these laws because Congress had not acted. If state guardrails are wiped away before a strong national standard exists, the practical outcome may be fewer protections in the near term, especially for consumers and children. Okay, what's the real message here? Across the country, people are calling their state legislators and governors saying, get this AI garbage filth out of the eyes of our kids, pass a law to restrict. And governors, Republicans and Democrats alike, are saying, yes, we agree, let's pass this law. Now, Trump is saying, time out, all these billionaires are giving me lots of money to rebuild the White House and run my campaign. So no, I'm going to side with them, not your actual constituents. I'm going to let AI do whatever they want. Let's dig a little deeper. That's it in a nutshell. Now, let me be intellectually honest. Yes, there is a case to be made that artificial intelligence is so powerful, so important, that any country that gets to be dominant in it will control the whole world. Think about this. If your artificial intelligence is so powerful, if you could then create a drone that could go in and take out any other country's military, their nuclear arsenal, their leadership, and yours is smarter than everyone else, and you could do it, you would have complete control over the world. Therefore, it's pretty important to try to become first at artificial intelligence if you care about protecting your own nation, your own citizenry. And if you don't want to be, an evil dictator for the world, it's also important that you not be number two, because that means someone else will have complete control over the world if artificial intelligence actually gets to the point of general artificial intelligence. That's the theory, and it's a pretty compelling theory. So even if you don't want to take over the world for some nefarious purpose, you have a vested interest, whether you're a leader of a country or a citizen of a country, to not let some other country get there first. So that would be an argument in favor of what Trump is doing, saying, hey, I'm listening to my boys, Mark Andreessen and others, who say we don't want any competition that's slowing us down. We don't want any roadblocks. We just want to go full steam ahead and do whatever it takes to grow this thing quickly and become supreme. He's listening to that argument. What is troubling to some people across the ideological spectrum, whether you're Elizabeth Warren or Ted Cruz, is you've got constituents saying, we want to be protected. It's powerful now. It's corrupting our children now. Our children are falling in love with these chatbots that are encouraging them to do physical harm to themselves. And that is a very legitimate problem, as documented by some of the case studies with character AI. So it's a very real problem. So there's a real conflict. Muddying the waters is people looking at this administration saying, are they really making this decision based on what they truly believe is in the best interest of the citizenry? Or are they doing it because that's what the big money contributors are telling them to do? If you notice this last inauguration, who was sitting behind Trump at the inauguration? Was it the heads of various citizen watchdog groups? No. Was it various representatives of mental health organizations protecting teenagers? No. It was billionaires who were spending billions on artificial intelligence. It was the CEOs of Facebook and Apple and Amazon and all of these big guys who got all of them. So there are many, again, across the political spectrum in America, who feel that this decision is being made not for the public, but for cronies. The idea, okay, you give me billions of dollars for my campaign. You give me hundreds of millions of dollars to put gold leaf all over the White House. You give me hundreds of millions of dollars to help me build this giant ballroom for the White House? Okay, it's pay to play. You're paying and I'll play and you'll get what you want. That is the big, big problem here. Now, let's look at some more facts of the situation. There are a number of states that have passed laws on deepfakes and elections. You can't simply put out news saying your team won the election, even if it didn't, to try to foment anger and revolution. States have passed laws on chatbots and disclosure. States have passed laws on safety testing and reporting. A lot of these laws are now vulnerable because of what the administration is doing. And if they can't legally force you to get rid of the laws, they can use the carrot and stick approach and say, hey, nice set of highways you got there in your state, Massachusetts. Be a shame if something happened to them and you never got another penny of funding to repair. That'd be a real shame, wouldn't it? That's the problem. Now, according to the White House, they've said it's got to be one source. You can't go to 50 different sources. I understand if you are an AI company, you'd much rather deal with one set of rules. The whole world can't be based on what is the easiest thing for billionaires to make more billions of dollars with. That can't be the only rationale. Now, according to Wes Hodges of the Conservative Heritage Foundation, he said doing so before establishing national protections is a big carve-out for big tech. He's arguing a federal override should come with enforceable national rules. Otherwise, the winners are the companies with the least oversight. So again, here's what I'm trying to get across. This is not a typical left-right issue. This is not Elizabeth Warren saying you're making billionaires richer and everyone on the right saying, you want a big nanny state. It's not like that. You've got the Heritage Foundation, you've got Ted Cruz and others saying, we want states to be able to have the right to protect their own people.